What's up, guys? Welcome back to Amble's Adventures, and today we're going to talk about air compressors.
Check out Shop Overland Apparel, your source for Amble's Adventures merchandise and more.
Okay, so what we've got here is the single air compressor from Rough Country. We're going to do a kind of brief talk about this, but we're mainly going to focus on this dual air compressor. This is Thor's Lightning dual air compressor setup and what all comes with it. And we'll kind of go from there and kind of give you some comparisons of the two, what I like about one of these and what I don't like about them. And just kind of got this one here for reference, no longer use this. So stay tuned and we're going to kind of go over this. Okay, guys, so let's go over this one first. And as you can see here on here, because they throw their logo all over everything they do, which kind of aggravates me. Anyway, this is the Rough Country 12-volt air compressor, and got this again. They're close to us. It was the easiest one to get to, and went and got this, and was excited about it. It comes with the air compressor, comes with a coiled up hose. It's kind of like a slinky style hose, and a bag, and a pretty beefy setup as far as the cable and everything on it. The thing that we found out very quickly are if you're running stock tires and nothing oversized, normal 31s, 33s, this is okay. And when I say okay, that's kind of pushing it. From what we found, I've had one of these. My brother had one of these. I have 33s on my Jeep. He has 37s on his. Trying to air up a 37 with one of these, you can't get one tire aired up without it getting hot, and then it shuts off, and then it turns into an ordeal. At least that's the experience we've had with both of ours. The 33s, you can get one or two maybe, but still it gets hot and then it turns in. It's just been an ordeal. So still have them. I'm not going to just throw it away because it'll work in a pinch if you needed it. I may possibly put this in like my daughter's car or something like that in case she has a low tire, she could use it, something like. So if you're for car or something like that, I think it's probably okay. It comes with just like most of them, it's got the battery cable hookups. Hook the thing up, kick it on. It does have it does come with a case, comes with the hoses and everything to hook up to one tire. So that's about this one. About $180 are what these run on their website, I believe. And if maybe somebody else had better experience out of them, I just know the two we've got where they work. But if you're airing down an oversized tire, if anybody else has a dual air compressor of any sort, they're going to be waiting on you a long time. So I would, for a budget air compressor or something you need, you're going to throw in just to have one in, your just daily driver, your wife's car, kids or something like that, just to have one. I think it's great. It will get the job done. So I'm not knocking it, but for what we do, if you got a little bit oversized tires and you're airing down up and down and you don't want to be sitting there forever, this is not the way to go. I would lean towards saying, and I don't know this, but I would say any single air compressor is not going to be very good for that, if you're trying to do it in a timely manner. So enough about that. That's the Rough Country one. Let's get on to this bad boy. So this is the Thor Lightning dual air compressor system, and this thing is freaking awesome. It is comparable to the ARB dual air compressor at a fraction of the cost. If you can afford the ARB air compressor, by all means, go get it. It's definitely more compact and probably a better setup, but for the price of, the $250 range air compressor, you can't beat this. And for the same price you're going to spend on just the air compressor for the ARB, you can get this system with the air compressor and the hoses to set up to do air up all your tires at one time with a digital meter. So for $650, and on top of that, which we don't have this one, but on top of that, for $650, which is basically what you're going to spend on the ARB for the compressor, for the same money, you can get the kit that sets up this is, hard mounted into your rig, and they've got, XJs, YJs, TJs, JKs, JLs, JTs, the Ford Bronco. I think they've got Forerunner and Tacoma mounts. So for $650, you can have this thing hard mounted onto your rig, different, however the configuration is for whatever rig you're running. So for the same money, you can get the dual compressor, the whole setup as far as the hoses and everything for setting up and airing up and airing down all of your tires at one time, for the same money as just the ARB compressor. So as far as efficiency, this is, I want to say it's 10.6 CFMs, and I believe the ARB is like 6.1. Now, that's not always apples to apples. So there's different things you need to look at too. But that's kind of the specs on it, or you'll go through there. What I think I'm going to do, I'll put the specs on each of them. It's not really a comparison video, but I just wanted to kind of just show a different option. In our world of overlanding and camping and you're airing up, there's several different companies that do this. You get what you pay for sometimes. So you get what you pay for in certain things, and there's some instances where I would not go cheap on something. I think getting good tires, things like that, are very important. Suspension components, probably not something you should go cheap on. Anything mechanical, I would say get the best you can afford. On something like this, I would say always get the best you can afford, but I would shop around and realize there are some things out there that, hey, $650 for this setup on the website with the mounts for whatever rig you're running versus the ARB. And when you look at the specs on this are actually a little bit better than the ARB. And it is very comparable. People that use these versus are using the ARB and some other systems, this thing's right there with it. You're really not going to see much of a difference between any of them. As far as the timing, that's all relative to the size tire you have, how far you bear down, all those things. So, so it's all kind of one of those things. I just know with the rough country, when I don't want to be airing up a tire and look over and 3 of my buddies have already aired up 4 tires, and I'm still sitting there working on the first one because my air compressor keeps getting hot. Now, like I said earlier, if you want to throw something in your wife's car or your daily driver just to know, hey, you walk out for lunch at work and you got a low tire and you're like, oh crap, and you need to air your tire up to go get it, just to get you to where you can go get it fixed, and it's great for that. But if you're trying to save on time and just the ease of setup and the ease of doing things, this is definitely the way to go. And like I said, ARB, some of the other ones are great, and if that's in your budget, by all means, go that route. But this thing comes with all the hoses to do this as a complete system, so you get everything in the case, get all the hoses, and put down here, and then you get the control valve. It's right there. It's all digital, and it's all quick disconnect. Get this here, so everything is quick disconnect. That's what you get in this kit, plus whatever rig mount you choose when you're doing. So the website is very easy to navigate. But again, $650 for this setup is a lot more than $180 you're going to spend on the rough country one, or maybe going to Harbor Freight and getting one. Whatever you do, I would say if you're running oversized tires, stick to a dual air compressor. Like you can get the ARB, the single one. Now, if you're wanting onboard air because you're trying to run air lockers and stuff like that, you're going to have an air tank. You got to think about those things too. If you're not setting it up that way, then you're not worried about tanks and that kind of stuff. Then something like that, if it's airing up a tank and you're holding a big holding capacity and that's just topping it off, may work, a single one. But I still think you're going to be better off going with a dual air compressor pretty much in every scenario. If you can afford it and it's in your budget, I would say not get a single at all. Go with a dual, a good brand, and shop around, look and do some research. You don't always have to go by, hey, everybody's got a ARB, I got to have an ARB. It's not always the case. There's a lot of other companies out there that build good quality stuff. This is American made, American assembled. I'm sure it still has components that are coming from overseas, but it is an American company. So I try to buy as much as I can that's made in the United States. And I do believe this is American steel that this thing's assembled with. Again, nothing these days is not is going to be 100% American made. There's going to have stuff coming from all over the world, I'm sure. But this thing's very rigid. The handle's great, and it gives you more time. I'll say this: it gives you more time on the trail to have fun. My biggest pet peeve, which is my wife's biggest issue for us camping when she goes, is the unloading and the setup and all the work that goes to it. She wants to go and be able to relax. So having something where it's quick, easy, you can set this thing, if you don't have it mounted somewhere, which we don't, you can set this thing on the front, set it on my bumper, hook everything up within just a couple of minutes. You're airing your tires up, you're ready to go. In a couple of minutes, you're good to go on all four tires. I've looked at maybe doing a power tank and going with CO2. That's going to be your fastest setup, but it's just one more thing you got to make sure you're bringing with you, and it's limited. Depending on how many size tires you got and the size tank, you may only can get 3 air ups or 2 air ups. It just kind of depends. And I would say you're not going to set a bead with a compressor like this. So the power tank, stuff like that, you possibly could. So that's pretty much it. It's not a lot to talk about on an air compressor, but I just wanted to kind of go over the pros and cons of dealing with a single air compressor versus a dual and a budget air compressor versus a good name brand that builds a good quality product made in the United States and you can buy as a complete kit. It's got everything. For the DIYs out there, hey, go to Harbor Freight, see if you can find you an air compressor, build you up a system. These hoses are good quality. The connections, everything's done, and it works very well. So for that $650 range to get a complete setup, I think this Thor setup is great. And having a setup to where the bag's durable, everything fits in the bag well. You don't have to fight with it to get everything in there. It's not so tight. You got to really work with it. So everything will get in the bag very easily. Right now, this just kind of sets in a case. It can be mounted. Like I said, you pick the mount you want when you order them. But this is just a great company. So far, we've enjoyed it. It's worked really well. And I guess that's it. Other than we got our new hoodies and shirt design in. This is how we hydrate. This is our hydrate hoodie. This is probably the my favorite hoodie I've got so far. I like this color. But that's it. And so you can get those over at shopoverlandapparel.com, along with every other YouTuber you probably follow in this space of overlanding and camping. They probably have their merch there. I know Ozark Overland Adventures, Cotty Wamples, Bats Off Road, Brofester, Lady Overlander, and now the list goes on. They've added a ton of people over the last year. They're also going to be doing the merch at More, so they'll be there. So you can get everybody that you watch, their merch will be at More. If you're going to be at the More Expo, I hope to see you there. We're going to be there. I think we're going to camp at the fairgrounds this year. So we're really looking forward to that. That's one of my favorite things we do every year. That show's just awesome. It's got all the little knick-knack, little hands-on things you can get to, like some of the bigger expos don't have. So, and they got and they have the big trailer items and things like that. So, man, really cool rig. So if you've never been to the More Expo, I would highly recommend it. Make plans for it coming up. It's coming up pretty soon. And I guess that's it. Please, if you hadn't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more videos coming up and a lot more things coming up. Some trips coming very soon. We're looking forward to filming those and putting them out there, and hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.